Cody Kraut from Growing Deer tells the story of the monster buck he named Alien.
Before I joined Growing Deer, but it was a buck that we called Alien. He's the first deer that I felt like I actually earned, like totally, completely. Like I had him pegged and went in and executed perfectly. We were getting him coming out into a small food plot on the far south end of our property, and he would always enter the food plot in the northwest corner. After I went over, pulled the card, and I saw this, and it was over a span of like 3 weeks. And I would love to shoot this deer. I mean, he was a real heavy 9-pointer, really cool deer. And I went on a website, Wonderground, and I started going over the historic data. And I noticed that every time he was coming out in the northwest corner of this food plot, it was a southeast wind. And so I was just like, no way. And I thought, like, from shed hunting, I had a pretty good idea where he was bedded. And I was thinking, he's going to be a tough deer to kill because it's really hard to get in there and hunt that with a southeast wind. But looking at the maps, and I ended up figuring out, like, he's entering the property like right here. And there was a pin off to the edge to where I could get it standing there. And as long as the wind stayed steady, it'd just be threading the needle, just barely missing him. Waited. It was a Sunday afternoon that we got a lot of rain. And so my dad and I went into that food plot and we hung that set. And the rain was key because where he was bedded was very close to that food plot. But we snuck in, got that hung, and left. And then it was the next Sunday, we had a southeast wind, and I went in there and hunted him for the first time. And it was right at last light. I looked over, and then here he comes out of the timber, and got him shot the first hunt for him. So that was
Wow.
that was pretty instrumental in my love of whitetail as well. Like, I already loved them, but just knowing how smart they can actually be, because it was so consistent, that southeast wind. And it wasn't a south wind, it was a southeast wind. And whenever we went and tracked him, he died just 20 yards from his bed. We ended up finding his bed, and his bed was on the ridge, like on the point of a ridge, overlooking what we call the valley, just a big open valley. It's in the timber, but it's pretty open. You can see a long ways. And he would bend up there, and with a southeast wind, it was coming over his back, and he could see that whole valley, and he could see over into our main food plot. So that was